Hello and welcome to our latest Cambly Live session. To those of you who have not been here before, I will explain later about what Cambly is. I see we've got someone in the chat already. Stacy has said hi. So if you're in the chat, if you're watching, send us a message. Tell us where you're from. Give a shout out. My name is Daryl, and I'm going to be your teacher today. We're going to go through something really interesting. Ooh, I see someone already has sent a message. We've got Koos from Durban in South Africa, where it is steaming hot. All right, so it's very hot in South Africa. And Luan is here from Brazil. Thank you, Luan. Mert is here from Turkey. All right, good to see some regulars are here as well. Remember, if you have missed any of the other live streams from me or the other live streams from other Cambly teachers, there's the playlist. Go take a look at the playlist. Watch all the videos. Go take a look at the other static videos, the non-live videos. Watch everything. There's so much good stuff there. Ooh, we've got some more coming through. We've got Stefania from Italy. We've got Kudret from Turkey, Nandi from Hungary, Anna from Ukraine, Shafula from Georgia. We have the Cartoons Network News from India. Great. So thank you guys all for joining us today. Keep it coming with the messages. What are we going to do today? Today we are going to do some fun parts of speech, some fun figures of speech. So you see there are a lot of strange words that we're going to go through today. We're going to explain each one of these words. We're going to give an example. And remember, this is an interactive lesson. So I want you guys, when we do a word, I want you to give us an example of how you would use it, where you've heard it before, so that we know that everyone is on the same page. If there is a part of speech that you have heard before and you're not sure what it means, put it in the chat. Let's try and deal with it today. All right, I see a few more messages. We've got Saki saying hi. Divi, good evening, sir. Yes. All right, well, it's not evening for me, but evening for you. All right, so I think we're going to start straight away. We've got a lot of fun words here that we're going to go through. So let's go. Now, you may be wondering, why do we do this? Why do we go through all these different parts of speech? The first reason is that this is English. This is what English is made of. So all these things are used over and over again in different parts of English, whether it is a simple way to use it or something in poetry or something in literature. And when we go through some of these, you'll see that you can actually start to use this to make your English more expressive. So remember, the goal of all of these lessons and all the other lessons on Cambly is to take your English to another level so that you can start to understand more about how to express yourself in different ways. So that's what we're looking at today, expanding your English. Okay, now we're going to jump around a little bit. I think we're going to start. This is one of my favorite words, actually, just because it's a strange looking word. It's a strange sounding word. So we're going to start with this one, which is onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia. Now, onomatopoeia is what we describe, or how we describe any sound or any sound word in English. So a great expression or a great example would be crash. So we could say the car crashed. So the crash is the sound that the two cars make when they hit each other. So crash is the onomatopoeia. There's no other way to describe what happens when the cars hit each other. So there is a crash. Other examples, there are so many. Let's say we're talking about an animal. We could say that the dog barks. We could say that the cat meows. So these, again, there's no other way to describe the sound that is coming out of the animal. It barks, it meows, it moos. That is how we describe the sound. So there are many sounds everywhere. Sometimes when there is a microphone, maybe you can hear something, maybe you heard something there. When we have a sound that we can't describe, or it's even interfering with our listening, we could say that it is static or interference. I don't have enough space for interference, but I'll write it down in the chat. So any sound that we are describing is an onomatopoeia. It is a sound word. So this should be easy for you guys. I want you to put it in the chat. Sound words. Put it in a sentence. Use a sound word like bark, crash, meows. We could have any number. What does a bird make? What is the sound for a bird's singing in an onomatopoeia? What is the sound for when you sit down, when you lie down, when you eat? All of these things have sounds. I'll give you another great example. So let's say we are walking through a park. What could be the onomatopoeia for walking through a park? We could say that the leaves, as we stand on them, are rustling. So there is so many onomatopoeias that we could use. All right, so send me some. There we go. Ooh, we've got Recep says paper rustling. Yes. Do I have some paper around here? So that is the sound. That is like rustling paper. Yes. All right, so I'm going to put this in the chat, and then I want you guys to start sending. I just have to check my spelling here because it is a big word. Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia. So it is sound words. And we've got all these examples. So we have crash. When the cars crashed. I'm going to put it in sentences. The cars crashed. Or the dog barked. The cat meowed. We could also say, we could even say, I'm going to put it down here, the thunder clapped. So that is a very common way to describe the sound that thunder makes. I'm on a new keyboard here, so my typing is not so good. Oh, I see some more coming here. Oh, these are good. So from Anna, we've got slurp. What a great word. So slurp is when we drink something and we make that sound of how it kind of goes into our mouth. So I'm going to try and do it here. So that's a slurp. Thank you, Anna. Very good. Yes, we've got a clap. That's from another Anna. Okay. Then we've got a slap from Anna. So a slap is like that. When we hear the two pieces of skin hitting each other. Snoring from Diddy. Yes. So snoring, I'm going to try and do it now, is that sound through the nose. It's so that is snoring. No other way to describe it. Very, very good examples. So you can keep them coming, and I will try to act them out. So that is onomatopoeia. All right, let's do another one, another of my favorite words, because again, it's just a funny looking word. And this is hyperbole. So you may look at this and think that this is, and I've left out a letter, that this is hyperbole, but this is actually pronounced hyperbole. Now, hyperbole is when we exaggerate something. So I'm going to write that down and then give an example. So hyperbole is to exaggerate. So best example we could say. Let's say we've got the parent, they're talking to their child, and child doesn't listen, child doesn't do what they're supposed to do. That's how children are. And the mother will say, listen, I told you 1,000,000 times to take the trash out. Obviously, she did not tell him 1,000,000 times. It's impossible. No way she did that. But that is hyperbole. So we are exaggerating what we did in order to emphasize a point. So the point of hyperbole is to say, this is at the level that needs to be done. So we exaggerate to the point to explain how we are feeling about it. So that's our best example here. So I told you a million times to take out the trash, to close the door, to do your homework. Obviously, that's not the only example. We could also have hyperbole. Could say, I'm dead tired. Now, obviously, you're not dead, but you're very, very tired. You feel like you can't go on. That is another form of hyperbole. And again, you can see how these things can help you express yourself better in English. So let's give one more example of hyperbole here. I've got it written over here. So we could say, and this is another common one, I have a ton of things to do. So a ton is a unit of measurement. It's like 1,000 kilograms. Now, obviously, you don't have 1,000 kilograms of work to do, but you want to show I have a lot to do. So you'd say, I've got a ton of work to do. So that's our other example. I've got a ton of work to do. Let me put those into the chat while you guys send some examples yourself. Oh, here's a good one. This is from Alina. I'm dying of laughter. Perfect. Very, very good. Obviously, you're not dying of laughter, but something was very funny. Oh, we've got another onomatopoeia from Divi. The lion roaring. All right. I said I would try and do it, so I'm gonna do a roar. Okay. All right, there we go. I did a roar. All right, so we've got now hyperbole. Ooh, I've got to check my spelling here. Yes, it is. So hyperbole, and that is to exaggerate something to make a point. So I told you a million times to do your homework. And the other one is I have a ton, and I'm going to put in brackets what a ton is. It's 1,000 kilograms of work to do. All right, so those are our common ones, and you can start using those as well, almost like idioms in a way, as a figure of speech to say something, to show that you're expressing yourself in a bigger, fuller way. And again, if you think of more, send through how you have exaggerated. Perhaps there is a form of exaggeration in your native language that you can share, and then we can see how it works in English as well. All right, so that is hyperbole. Let's look at another funny looking word. All right, this one, oxymoron. And people always laugh about this word because it's a very strange looking word, oxymoron. So an oxymoron is when we take two words that are meaning the opposite of each other and put them together to mean something new. So let me write that down first. So we take two words that mean the opposite of each other, and we put them together. The best example I remember is he was an honest thief or an honest crook. So obviously, if he's a thief, he's not honest. But what do we mean by this? He will, as a thief, with his other thieves and his other bad guys, he's going to be honest with them. So you could trust him even though he's a thief. So he is an honest thief. So we've taken these two words that are very completely the opposite, honest and thief, and we've put them together to explain about this person that although he steals, you can still trust him if you need to. So he is an honest thief. We've got like some examples of hyperbole coming through. Let's take a look at them first. So from Divi, how many times do I have to tell you to do your work? This is hyperbole for sure. It's saying I've told you so many times, and how many times do I need to tell you? What is the limit? Again, we're exaggerating the fact that I've told you before. Here's a great one from Luann. Bittersweet. Yes. So bittersweet, and I'm going to put these down as definitions because these are great words. So bittersweet is when something happens and there's a sense of happiness and a sense of sadness at the same time. When would this be? A good example is when there's a couple and they break up. So that could be very bittersweet. They were together and they need to break up. Maybe they're both happy that they're breaking up because they'll be in, free or different relationships, but there's also sadness because they're breaking up. So this is a very bittersweet situation. They're sad but happy at the same time. Oh, I see a lot are coming through for this. So we've got from Alina, deafening silence. Very, very nice as well. So a deafening silence means that even though no one is saying anything, it almost is like someone is saying something. And the fact that there's no words says something. It makes you feel the absence of the words. So for a second, I'm going to stop talking. So you can feel that that silence has like weight and there's expression in the silence. So when would we use deafening silence? Perhaps there is the couple. Let's go back to our couple that's going to split up. And perhaps they have had a big argument, a big fight. They've been shouting at each other. And then they both go to their respective rooms in the house and everything becomes very quiet. And we could say that is a deafening silence. The fact that no one is speaking anymore, it says a lot. There's emotion in the silence. It's a deafening silence. It's a really good example. Okay, we've got another one. This is open secret. So an open secret, I don't have space. So an open secret is something that everyone knows, but is supposed to be kept secret. So yes, it's a secret. No one's supposed to know it, but a lot of people know about it. Very good example. And from Tony, all right, a safe battlefield. This is an interesting one. I haven't come across this one before, but yes, so a battlefield is usually where people are fighting or they're shooting, whatever it is, there's conflict happening. A safe battlefield will be where you can maybe express yourself. Maybe a safe battlefield could be something verbal. So yes, you're arguing and you're talking and you're shouting, but you feel that you can still express yourself within the fighting and the arguing. So it's a safe battlefield. It's a place where you can feel safe to say what you need to say. It's a very good example. All right, we've got another one here from Irva, jumbo shrimp. This is a great example because shrimp usually means something small and jumbo is usually something big, but we do have a type of food called a jumbo shrimp. Yes. All right, and I think someone has, all right, let me put that down. Those were some very good examples. If you guys think of more, keep them coming. So we've got the oxymoron, which is two words that mean the opposite that are put together. So we have the honest thief. So he steals, but to his, let's say to his family, he can be trusted. Then we had, this is a good one also from Luann. Awfully good. Awfully good. I'm going to put that down here because we need a definition of that. So awfully good means something is really, really good. Awful, the word awful means something is bad, but now we're using it to emphasize how good something is. It's just an expression just to make it more fun to say. But yes, awfully good is not something that is bad. It's something that is really, really good. All right, and then we had bittersweet. Excellent example. Oh, we've got Simar who's saying hello from Turkey. If you guys are joining us now and you have missed some of the earlier stuff we did, remember that this video is going to be in the playlist. You can watch the whole video and everything and all the other videos So if you've missed anything, don't worry, everything's there. So we had bittersweet. So this is a breakup, for example, where it's good, but it's bad at the same time. Ooh, this is an interesting one from Divi. A successful failure. A successful failure. So yes, that is actually an expression that happens sometimes. What is a successful failure? That means that you tried to do something, it didn't work, but maybe it showed that what you wanted to do did not work. So you failed, but you successfully showed that it will not work. So it is a successful failure. It's a very good example of that one. Divi says he made that up, but it actually is something that people use. So it just shows you that it's out there. Maybe you heard it once before. All right, so we've done our oxymoron, we've done our onomatopoeia, we've done our hyperbole. Let's do some easy, quick ones. All right, we've done some big ones. Let's look at alliteration. So alliteration is the repetition of a sound, usually at the beginning of a word. So it's the repetition of a letter or a sound at the beginning of a word. So a repeated sound or letter. The best example, and you guys may have heard of this one before, is the expression, it's that tongue twister, where they say, she sells seashells on the seashore. So I'm not going to write the whole one down here, but I'm going to say, she sells seashells. So it's the repetition of the S and the sh sound. So we've repeated that. She sells seashells on the seashore. So that is alliteration. It's a repetition of the letter or the sound at the beginning of the word. And often people use this in advertising, or they'll use it in poetry to, again, sound like something is flowing, sound like something is a whole. Often when we do that, when we make something alliterative, when we repeat a word or a sound, it feels like it makes sense. It feels like it's supposed to be, and that's why they use it in advertising and marketing, because it makes you think like, that must be true because it's the same letter, the same word. So that is alliteration. Let me just get another example here. Where is my example? Ooh, I've lost my example here. Let me just find it again. Hold on. You guys can also think of an example if you want. Ooh, we've got it. We've got some. So Anna's talking about a tongue twister. Yes, a tongue twister itself, that expression is also an alliteration, tongue twister. And that it doesn't have to be a tongue twister. So to answer Anna's question, not all alliteration is a tongue twister. A tongue twister is when you say something and it's going to make you stumble over the words and the sounds. So not all alliteration is like that, but some is. We've got here, an ant ate an apple. Perfect. Yes, that's a good example from Rose. French fries from Alina. Yes. So we've got French fries. It's an alliteration, and it sounds like it belongs together. So French fries sounds like it belongs together. Thank you, Alina. Oh, and we've got from Divi. Yes, it's another tongue twister. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. So it's all the P's, and that is a tongue twister again. So yes, that's alliteration. And you can use that in your own writing or in your own expression. It doesn't have to be one of these weird sounding things. Maybe you're trying to make a point about, you're doing an English test and you have to write your writing part and you want to make a point about something. You can use alliteration to emphasize that point. Use the same letter, use the same sound at the beginning to emphasize the point about that. We've got another one from Irva. Green grass grew on the sidewalks. Yes. Ooh, we got a big word here from Divi. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. So although that's not an alliteration, I think that would belong again under onomatopoeia. Good spelling there, Dibby. Well done. Okay, so let's write down what alliteration is. Alliteration is repeating the same letter or sound at the beginning of words. And we've got she sells seashells on the seashore. All right, that's our. Now, what I also want to do while we're looking at that is on the board it is. So we've looked at alliteration, which is repeating the sound or the letter. And I want to look at this one at the bottom here, which is similar, and this is a very little known figure of speech. So this is anaphora. Anaphora is repeating a word at the beginning of each sentence, again, to emphasize a point. So a great example, and I might have to just get down here to write this here, would be bold, be strong, be brave. So it's some kind of inspirational saying there, right? Be bold, be strong, be brave, and we repeated the be. So it's similar to alliteration, except that now we are repeating a whole word. Sometimes we can repeat a whole phrase. So there's a very famous speech from Martin Luther King called the I Have a Dream speech. And he begins each part of the speech with, I have a dream about this. I have a dream about that. I have a dream, etc. So that repetition emphasizes the point. And we can use that in lots of different ways. So you can see here, it's very small, simple, be bold, be strong, be brave. For Martin Luther King, it's a whole set of words to emphasize and keep driving home this point. So you can definitely start to use that in various ways to expand your expression. Oh, I think we've got I'm going to come back to that one now, Diddy. So let's write that one down as well to go with alliteration. Anaphora. So this is repeating words or phrases to emphasize a point. So our great example, be strong. I'm just going to, I don't know if it was the same one. Be strong, be brave, be bold. And another one, and you may have heard this on television or movies, this is a popular one. They say, go big or go home. So there again, we're using the go to emphasize what we're saying here. Go big or go home. And then our final one here is the I Have a Dream speech from Martin Luther King. So you can look that up. It's a really great speech, obviously. So that's Martin Luther King Jr. Ooh, Tony's got a good one here. Stay hungry, stay foolish. I like it. Okay, I'm not really sure. Perhaps the hungry here is about you need to do stuff if you're hungry. Otherwise, you're going to be foolish. Maybe you can explain it to us, Tony. Martin Luther King Jr. And then there's no, we're going to do that with assonance. All right. So now we've done alliteration, we've done anaphora, and now we're going to look at assonance, which is another funny word. I love all these words because they're so strange. So alliteration was repeating the same letter at the beginning. Anaphora was repeating the same set of words, usually at the beginning. Now, assonance is repeating the same sound within the sentence. So it's very similar, but it doesn't have to be at the beginning, and it doesn't have to be the same letter. It's repeating the same sound. So this is repeating a sound in a sentence. So the best example I can think of, and this is again very common, you hear this a lot, is work hard, play hard. So there we're repeating the hard. We could even change it to a different sound, but you can see that it's different. It's not at the beginning, like alliteration, and it's not at the beginning like anaphora, it's somewhere in the middle. So that sound is being repeated. Work hard, play hard is being repeated, but in the middle of the sentence. So we've got work hard, play hard. Let me get another example of assonance here. So another one, and this is kind of an example, it's not really useful, but it'll illustrate the point, is, where can I put this here? How now, brown cow. So it's a literature reference. We don't have to go into it now. But you can see that we're repeating all the ow sounds. How now, brown cow. So we're repeating that. And often in popular music, you're going to hear a lot of assonance because they're going to do rhymes. And the rhymes may be a little different, not exactly the right rhyming word, but they repeat the same sound in the sentence. So that is assonance, repeating the sound in the sentence. All right, and we've got from Wonderson, a classic, yes. And I'm going to write this one down. No pain, no gain. Perfect. So no pain, no gain. So here we're using the ain. That's the sound that we're repeating. Yes, very good. Thank you. All right. And we've got, Irva says, go slow over the over. I'm not sure about that one, Irva. Maybe you could clarify what that one means. But let's write this down. We've got assonance. Assonance. So this is repeating a sound within a sentence. So we have no pain, no gain. Perfect. We've got work hard, play hard. And we've got how now, brown cow. Now you might say again, why do we worry about this? Why do we use it? Because it's the same thing that we said with the alliteration. By repeating something, especially in advertising or in a slogan, it makes it sound like it's true. When we do something alliterative, when we do something with anaphora, when we do something with assonance, because of that repetition, it does something to the brain and makes us think that that must be true because it sounds the same. It has to be true. It doesn't have to be true, but that's how we use it in marketing. All right, Divi sent us something here. What? Red, lead, red well. I'm not sure about that one, Divi. I think we're repeating, yes, the red sound, the eh sound. I've never heard that one before. So I'll give you another one. I'll give you another one that this reminds me of. So this is something that they would say often in to talk about newspaper people or to talk about journalists. And this is we can use this when we discuss people online. And they would say, if it bleeds, it leads. So I'm going to write that down. If it bleeds, it leads. So what does it mean? If it bleeds, it leads. When you watch the news or when you see a newspaper report or a news report online, people, for some reason, like to see violence and bad things. So if there's blood, it's going to be the first thing that you see because people like to see it. So if it bleeds, it leads. So if there's blood and there's bad stuff happening, that's going to be the headline. That's going to be the first thing you see. All right, so that's another example of assonance. All right, so we've done. Let's do another quick one. We're going to do this one over here. Another little known part of speech that I love. Interrobangs. Interrobangs. It sounds, again, very strange. Interrobangs is easy. You will have seen this a lot. People also like to text this. They do this when they text. They may not know that they're doing it when they text. So interrobangs are where we, again, want to emphasize something. So instead of just using one exclamation mark, we might use an exclamation and then a question mark, maybe even another exclamation. Sometimes people will use 3 exclamation marks, or they'll put hashtags in there and @ signs to illustrate that you're saying something, a curse word. All of those are interrobangs. They are taking the punctuation and adding extra punctuation to make a point. So we've all done that, I think, and you can give me plenty of examples of using interrobangs. And again, why do we use it? In typing and texting, we use it to emphasize what we're feeling. So this is something that's not only about speaking, it's something you can use when you text, when you write. If you're going to use this in writing, then you don't go too far. If you're going to use this, for example, in literature or in writing for a test, you can put those two together. You can put the exclamation mark and the question mark. It emphasizes something, but you're not going to go crazy with the other interrobangs. So that is a quick one. It's interrobangs. Yes, ooh, this is a great one here from Alina. Are you crazy? With the interrobangs, excellent. And then from Divi, what the heck? Ooh, a lot of interrobangs there. But yes, that really emphasizes that this person is very confused. Excellent, yes. So that's, you can see, this has power in it straight away. And I just love the word, interrobangs. So this is using extra punctuation to make a point. I want everyone to try this. This is so easy. Send a question, an expression using it. We've got one from Irva. You call that a hat? I like that, yes. So I can imagine what's happening just from reading that. So that's very, very good. Okay, so using extra punctuation to make emphasis, And we've got all these great ones here already. So I'm gonna go with the one here from Debbie, which is someone says, "What the heck are you doing?" That will be our example. What the heck are you doing? What's happening here? What's happening here? So very good. Oh, another great one here from Wonderson. Have you lost your mind? With all the question marks. So who knows what this person did that Wonderson is asking this question. Very good examples. All right. So now we've done interrobangs, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's look at metaphor and simile. And I want you guys to keep coming with the interrobangs. All right, keep sending some fun stuff with that while we carry on with metaphor and simile. Now, metaphor and simile are actually very close to each other. They're closely related. We're going to start with simile and then go to metaphor. And here we are comparing something to, again, illustrate what's happening. So a great example for simile, a very simple one. And remember, simile always uses as or like. As or like, if you see that, then you know it's simile. So we could say the sky was as black as, and we would usually say something like, no, let's change that. We could say, let me check the one that I had here. I don't want to go making up a new one. So simile, here we go. So I would say he was as white as a sheet. So here we're using as. We're saying he was white as a sheet. What does it mean? Firstly, if he was white as a sheet, he saw something and it scared him, it surprised him, he lost all the color in his face. He is really shocked, really surprised. But that's the simile. So instead of just saying he was surprised, which is a little boring, and instead of just saying he was shocked, which is also boring, we say he was white as a sheet. In other words, he was shocked, and it was so shocked that he lost all the color in his face. So that is simile. Let's get another example here. So another example of simile. And he was, well, let's put this time as a she. So she was as brave as a lion, right? So whatever she did, she was brave about it, right? As brave as a lion. I don't know if a lion is so brave, but it's an expression people could use. So we're saying whatever she did, she was very brave about it. Instead of just saying, well, she was brave, we add that extra element to make it more expressive. And one more, just to use the like. We have swim like a fish. So there we're using like, and instead of just saying, well, he can swim very well, which is again boring, we say he swims like a fish. So again, we're giving that extra emphasis, that extra expression. Oh, we've got a lot coming here. All right, so let's take a look. As sick as a dog from Desi, and as good as gold. Very good examples. We've got from Luann, as cool as a cucumber. All right, that's a good one. So if someone is as cool as a cucumber, it means they are very laid back. They're like cool and awesome. Very good. All right, got Tony as brave as a lion. Alina as cold as ice. So if someone is as cold as ice, maybe they are very unemotional. Maybe they have a lot of distance. Cold as ice, very good example. All right, as busy as a bee from Luann, as white as snow from Tanya, as glory as a star from Tinky Winky. I've never heard that one, but it sounds very interesting. Ooh, a whole sentence here from Luann. She stuck out like a sore thumb because of her red hair. So sore thumb, if your thumb is sore, usually it means it comes from hitting a hammer onto your thumb, so your thumb would swell up. But yes, very good expression. As fresh as a daisy from Desi. These are all great similes, and they're all using as or like. That's how we know it's a simile. So let's put that down here. All right, simile, use as or like to compare, to make, again, an extra expressive point. So these are all good. I'm going to put here just swims like a fish and white as a sheet. He was white as a sheet. As slow as a snail from Divya is beautiful. As a red rose from Aparna. These are great. As wide as a universe. That almost sounds like a poem from Glenzim. I like it. Wow. Very nice. So that is simile. It uses the as or the like. Then we have metaphor. And metaphor is very similar to simile, except there is no as or like. So here we're saying something is something else. So we're not saying it's like it, we're saying it is something else. So very different. So good example here is to say, and you may have heard this before, life is a highway. It's also a song, and it's an expression. It just means that, or we could even say life is a roller coaster. So life has ups and downs, life carries on, life's a long road. So we're saying it is that. It's not like it, it is that. So that is the difference between metaphor and simile. So we could say life is a highway. If we wanted to, again, use this for emphasis, we could say her eyes were diamonds. If it was a simile, it would be her eyes were like diamonds. So by taking out the like, we kind of make extra emphasis. Her eyes were diamonds. So that's the use of metaphor. Lots of different uses, but we're using is. So he's a night owl from Luann. Perfect, perfect. Oh, and I think Alina is doing an oxymoron from earlier, a broken heart. Well, I think that works. A broken heart. A heart is usually supposed to be about love and being whole. So broken heart, yes. Antonio has just joined us. Thank you, Antonio. So let's put down metaphor. Metaphor. All right, spelling. So metaphor is comparing using is or to be. In other words, there's no like or as. So our example is life is a highway. Well, I'm going to use life is a roller coaster. I think that is better. Sometimes maybe you had like a very busy day, lots of stuff happening, and then you can say, today was a roller coaster. So you're reusing was because is and was are the same thing. But that's what our day was like. Today was a roller coaster, right? Or it was a roller coaster of emotions, kind of making it even extra emphasis there. Ooh, great one here from Tony. Love is a mystery. Wow, it's again like another little poem here. Excellent. So these are all metaphors. All right, and let's do irony. All right, so it's over here. Irony. So irony is when we say something, but we mean the opposite of what we say. And we could even say we are being ironic when we do that. So irony is when we say the opposite of what we mean. I'm going to write that down. Don't worry if my handwriting is bad. What's a good example? Let's say it's raining. Terrible day, clouds out there. I'm not a rain person. I'm a sun person. I like the sun. So I would look at the rain and I'd say, oh, I'm so happy that it's raining. So there's my irony. I'm being ironic. You can even tell by the tone of my voice, I'm not happy about the rain. So instead of just saying, oh, it's raining and I don't like that, I use irony to express myself in a different way. Ah, more rain. That's great. So that is irony. You'll hear this often on movies and comedy series. They use irony a lot because it can be funny. It can be very expressive. All right, so we've got some more examples of metaphors. We've got Alina, my body is a temple. Yes, that's a very common expression. And then Divi, my brother is a stupid. I think that's more just an insult, but yes, I guess that could be a metaphor. And I'm sorry if your brother is a stupid, Divi. Nothing we can do. And yes, Irva says it's typically irony is for humorous effect, usually. Not always, but mostly, definitely. And Muzamil, Muzamil has joined us from Afghanistan. Thanks for joining us. All right, so we've got irony. So say the opposite of what you mean. Ooh, my typing was bad there. So I'm just going to say, oh, I'm so glad it's raining again. And Rose is asking, is it like sarcasm? It is. It is like sarcasm. It's part of sarcasm. Sarcasm does have other elements as well, but irony is a big part of sarcasm because sarcastic people are usually trying to express themselves in a funny way by saying things are good when they're bad, or they're bad when they're good. So yes. Ooh, Divi's got a whole expression here. They tried to destroy my presentation. My presentation destroyed them. It's not actually irony, but I think we're going to be doing that one in a second. So we'll keep that open, Divi, and we'll come back to that. That's the next one we're going to do. So it's good. You're ahead. You're ahead of the game. You've time traveled to a few minutes in the future. So that is irony. So let's do the one that Divi has kind of brought up, which is chiasmus over here. So chiasmus, again, it's a little known English part of English expressions, is when we take the first half of a sentence and then we use it again in the second half of the sentence, but we change it to change the meaning. So the best expression, the best example we can say is work to live, don't live to work. So there, obviously, what we're saying is work is not the most important thing in the world, and you do your work so you can live and have fun. So you should work to live, but not live to work. That's what the expression means. If we take a look at how it is formed, we've taken the first half, work to live, and then we've kind of reused that again in the second half, but we've changed it in order to change the meaning. So work to live, but don't live to work. And if we take a look at Divi's expression, he says, they tried to destroy my presentation destroyed them. So that is exactly what we've done there. We've taken the first half, and then we've changed it in the second half. So that might be difficult to find an expression now as an example for you, but maybe do it for homework. Go and look at some examples of that and see what you can find, because they can be very interesting. They're often used in motivational posters, in inspirational sayings, because they want to change what you're doing and be more positive about things. And we have Mbami, who says, I eat to live. All right. And Divi says that his is a reference from Teen Titans Go. All right, which is a good series. All right, so let's write it down. Chiasmus. So that is, take the first half of the sentence and reuse it or repeat it in the second half of the sentence, but change the meaning. So our best expression is work to live, don't live to work. Okay, and I think we're going to do one more, which will be we're going to do euphemism. We're going to do euphemism. So this one over here, euphemism. So euphemism is a nice way to say something. So maybe you want to say that someone is horrible or they're bad, or say something else is that it's not going well, but you say it in a nice way. So say something bad or something bad has happened, and you say it in a nice way. So say something bad in a nice way. Now, a great example of this is when someone dies, because people don't always like to hear the word die or dead or... So what we will say, instead of saying your father is dead or your father has died, is we will say your father has passed away, or your father has passed along, your father is in a better place. So all those are euphemisms. They are nice ways to say that someone has died. So that is a great example of a euphemism. So instead of he is dead, we would say he passed away. And you will find this in lots of different, you're probably doing it yourself. There are things that you want to say, but you say them in a nice way. So let's write it down. Euphemism. These are complicated words to spell. Euphemism. So say something bad, but in a nice way. So great example, instead of saying your father is dead, we would say your father passed away. All right. So again, you guys can think of those euphemisms. You can go take a look at them online and look it up and see other examples of when we're saying something bad, but in a nice way. All right. So I think we covered quite a lot today. We had some fun with a lot of these expressions. I want to thank you guys for all of the different examples that you sent. And Bami is asking, what if I said he passed on? Yes, that's fine. Again, he passed on, he passed along, same thing. So I want you guys for homework, go look up all these expressions, see some more examples. Again, if you missed the beginning of today's class, it's in the playlist. Go take a look. Take a look at all the other live sessions in the playlist. Take a look at all the other lessons we have on the channel. If you guys don't know what Cambly is, it is a great online and app-based program, a platform where you can get English lessons from people just like me in anything you need. So it could be in expanding your expression and vocabulary. It could be in just conversation. It could be in working towards a test. Whatever it is, you're going to find tutors and teachers that are perfect for that and are going to help you with it. So yes, go sign up now if you haven't already and carry on your English journey. Thank you for joining us today. And I will see you guys again in another class. So bye for now.